Hey, what's up, phone numbers? Welcome to the Mobile Roar podcast for the week of May 6th, 2015. I'm Joe Fedua.
I am Christopher Chavez.
I am Kevin Grouse.
All right, so we're back. We're into May now, 2 days away from May the 4th. Revenge of the 6th, or is that Revenge of the 5th?
They did Revenge of the 5th.
Yes.
What is that? What are you guys
Yeah.
talking about? Is that another holiday too?
/ Cinco de Mayo. Cinco de Mayo. I can't talk, sorry.
De Mayo.
I saw someone tweeted, the tradition of everyone eating a fifth of mayo hasn't really caught on for Cinco de Mayo.
That's disgusting.
That is kind of gross. Mayonnaise is one of those things like I do not touch.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan.
Chris, I had a question for you since you live in California. What is the biggest earthquake that you've ever experienced?
I think I remember the Northridge one or something back in like '93 or some odd.
Do you remember what the scale was?
I think it was like 6.7 or something. So it was kind of up there. And it toppled some like freeway overpasses and stuff. I think it was like one of the bigger earthquake disasters. But I mean, we were far away. It was like in LA or something, and I was in Rancho, so it's like half hour to hour away.
The reason I ask is because if anyone follows me on Twitter, you'll know that on Saturday there was actually an earthquake in Michigan.
What?
Which is the weirdest thing ever. I'm just sitting in my living room.
Do you guys have a fault line out there?
I was just in my living room, and all of a sudden I hear something like fall over upstairs, and then the house is shaking, and my wife is like sitting in the same room, and I say, "Why is our house shaking?"
Wait, is that your first earthquake?
Yeah. It wasn't like extreme or anything, but just enough to be kind of like, what the hell is going on here? Why is my entire house shaking? Don't think anything of it. Of course, I live in Michigan. I'm not going to immediately say, oh, it's an earthquake. A few minutes later, everyone on Twitter, what the heck? Everyone's wondering what's going on. Apparently, it was a 4.2
That's a
earthquake.
nice one. That's a good one.
Pretty decent
Decent
one.
size. Yeah, I have a similar experience to that in Baltimore a few years back. I mean, we'd never had any earthquakes, but I was actually on the phone with Rob Jackson, the editor-in-chief of Fangraph. And he also lives here in Baltimore with me, so we both are like in mid-conversation, and then we're like, what the heck was that? Like, and not coming from an earthquake area, the first thing you think is like some kind of explosion or something nearby,
Right.
but yeah, it was I think the one here was very mild. It was like in the 2 range maybe, but yeah, something fell off my shelf. The whole house rumbled. It's very freaky if you're not used to that. I can understand.
Yeah.
I can't imagine a 6 point something. That
It's
would be
scary.
crazy.
Yeah. That one was nuts because it was like like usually it's like a and things kind of moving around, but the 6 it's like and it's just like almost like a I don't know, like a jolt, but it gets pretty freaking nuts. I ran outside and I was screaming.
Wasn't the Nepal earthquake last week in like the 7s, or was it more than that?
I think it was it was like I think it was like high 6s, low 7s, something right around there. So.
Yeah, and that one was really strong. And that apparently Mount Everest is a few feet shorter these days.
Is that for real?
Earthquake. Yeah, apparently the height of Mount Everest.
I mean,
dropped.
the Chile volcano and earthquakes in Michigan. I don't know, man.
Well, they say what causes
the world.
earthquakes in like Michigan and areas like the Midwest is fracking, I guess.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
From like fracking for oil, or like
Fracking is really bad for that type of stuff.
They put water underneath the earth, right? Or something
At
like
really
that?
high pressure.
Yeah, not good. Not good.
But before we transition into the eco-friendly podcast here, maybe we should talk about some tech.
Yeah, I guess.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Fracking tech.
Yeah.
The latest
Talk about some fracking tech.
Motherfracking tech.
Isn't that a swear word in like Firefly? What the frack?
I don't know.
I think so.
According to my mom, it is. So yeah.
All right. So yeah, tech. Kevin has had the LG G4 for about a week now, I think. Review
over a week.
Probably going up tomorrow-ish. Tell us about it.
So I don't know if you remember. I did an LG G3 review last year, which I really like the LG G3, so I was excited to check out the G4. Um, I guess the short version of my review would be that, and this isn't necessarily a fault with LG because we find this with so many phones, but I don't know if it does enough to be considered a huge leap up from the G3. For instance, I think if a G3 owner already has the G3 and they have another year on their contract, you probably don't need to rush out and buy the G4. Um, if you have an older phone, a G2, you would probably want to upgrade to the G4. Um, so I think it's a little underwhelming in that respect, the big picture of it, but I think the individual features that they've improved here are pretty significant improvements for the whole, and they make it a really cool device. So I've been enjoying using it. The camera is sick. Again, I still haven't had a chance to personally play around with the Galaxy S6 and its camera, but I've seen the photos from the Galaxy S6, and comparing that to some of the photos that I'm seeing with the G4 and that I've taken myself, that I think it's given the S6 a run for its money, in my opinion, and it also has just really good features software-wise for the camera, for the manual adjustments, which we've seen with the M9 and the S6 also, so that's kind of popular nowadays. But manual adjustments, and you also have the new color sensor on the back, which supposedly, and I think is proven in my experience to actually help improve the color temperatures and the color reproduction in photos. That laser focus again, take that for what you will. I think that's still a little gimmicky, but it does do its job. But I think the really big thing about this camera is the f-stop on it. It's an f1.8 aperture, which is the fastest aperture, the brightest aperture that we've seen on a smartphone, really. I think the S6 has an f1.9, the iPhone 6 has an f2.2 or maybe a 2.0.
2.2.
So it's got this really low f-stop, which makes it pretty decent low light camera. I think we talked last week a little bit about how I'm not sure if it you can definitely see things in low light. I don't know if it's the best looking image in low light, but it definitely is good at taking low light pictures. It's got a nice big image sensor to go along with that aperture to make the low light, and works really well in all lighting conditions from my experience. And
Have your low light photos been really red like they were at the event?
Some of them. It depends on. I think that it seems when there's a lot of white in the low light photo, white backgrounds, those tend to kind of skew a little bit orangish and red. But if you're dealing with other colors, they come out a little bit better. But yeah, if you have a lot of white or little white light leaking in, it kind of gets orangey. So that might be one issue with the low light. But overall, I'm pretty impressed with the camera. And the display is this quantum IPS quantum display or something, and it's pretty similar to the G3 display, but it is super bright. I mean, it's alarming how bright it is.
Alarming.
Well, I don't know.
Is it really good outside?
Yeah, it works really well in bright light. But just like the G3, I thought the G3 had a really bright display. This has a very bright display. Same resolution, QHD, looks really nice, but I think the one thing, and this is kind of a preference thing, if you're used to like a Galaxy AMOLED, Super AMOLED display that's very vibrant and saturated, the brightness and the color profile of this G4 might look a little washed out to you. In reality, I think the colors are a little more true to life, but it just kind of lacks that pop that the AMOLED display has, like with the Galaxy S6. But overall, the display's nice.
One thing I always like about the AMOLED displays is how at night the blacks don't light up at all. Is that the case on the G4? Because I know it's IPS, but it's supposed to have really true blacks, they say.
Yeah, they've improved the contrast of it a lot, so the blacks look better. I don't know if I'd go as far as putting them on the same level as the contrast that you get with that AMOLED display, because I think the contrast you get with Super AMOLED, that's pretty insane contrast ratio. But they've improved it on this, and it definitely the contrast and the color, the range of color is a lot better. So I think there's definitely improvements to it, but it is just super bright. And I think part of the reason it looks so bright also is the fact that they put this really kind of bright interface on here that's got very kind of bright
it's like
neon
cyan.
colors. Yeah, but it works with the material design kind of thing from Lollipop. So Software is nice. They added a few things. They've added kind of the typical, everyone wants to have the swipe all the way to your left to have like a special panel thing. So they've got that there. Their smart bulletin, and you can access your calendar and some other widgets. So, but otherwise, yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit underwhelmed with it. I think it's a great phone in terms of it can compete hardware and spec wise with these other big phones like the S6 and One M9, but I'm not sure it's enough of a leap forward from the G3 to really make me be super wowed by the phone. That's my general takeaway.
Cool. Do you have any idea what score you're gonna give it?
Yeah, I haven't settled on it yet. I mean, I think it's definitely like a solid. If we're going out of 5, probably a solid 4 out of 5, 4.2, like 4.25 out of 5. I don't know. I mean, I think what did you give the S6, Chris?
Like a 4.7 or something. So it was like nearly perfect.
Yeah, and I think when I reviewed the M9, I gave it like a 4.5. So the G4 might come in a little bit below that, but I think it's pretty on par with the One M9 in many ways.
We have a question here from Quadwo Bodu. He asks about the G4 battery life. How has that been?
Oh yeah, the battery life, right. So what I've found with the battery life is, first of all, it's still a 3,000 milliamp hour battery, which isn't any kind of improvement spec-wise over the G3. And battery life is kind of similar to the G3 in that regard, but I guess with Lollipop and some other optimizations, you can squeeze a little bit more out of there. I think they advertise that you could probably get up to almost 2 days of battery use, and I think if you use it really conservatively, and you're just kind of maybe texting and doing some mild web surfing and not really playing games or anything, you might be able to push a day and a half or maybe even 2 days out of it. But I'd say if you're using it kind of on an average type of use, you'll get a day without having to charge. So something like maybe 14, 15 hours. I think more realistically 10 to 12 hours if you're doing more video and more gaming on your phone. So, I mean, it does benefit from the fact that it still has the replaceable battery. So if you're one of these people that does run through battery, you can always get an extra and you'll have a backup right when you need it. But yeah, I'd say it's probably on par with where the M9 is, and again, I haven't really tested the S6 much, but from what I've read, just kind of reading some other reviewers' opinions, the S6 might get slightly better battery life than the G4, so a difference.
Slightly better than the G4?
That's what I've seen through testing. I mean,
it sounded like what you were saying was that it was getting better, because the S6 has like abysmal battery life.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's terrible.
How many hours do you get, Chris?
On the S6?
Yeah.
Like 15, 14 hours, but that's like, even if I don't touch it, that's just standby, like 14 hours. Yeah. If you use it, you're going like 9, 10 hours.
I think this is maybe getting a little off topic, but I think it's interesting to see what gauge people use to even test battery. Because, I mean, for me, I just kind of use the phone and gauge based on what it's used. But
it's impossible to like compare.
That's going to be different for everybody and for every device. So then a lot of sites, and I don't think we really do this on Fandroid, at least I don't know if anyone else who reviews devices ever does anything like this, but a lot of sites have a system where they'll just set it to play a video for like 12 hours until the battery dies, and then see how long it takes for the battery to die with a video playing. And so
even then, it's not even
well. So I looked at CNET's review, and according to their review, when they just played a video, the G4, I think they said, got like 10 hours of battery life, and the S6 got 12. So it was like a difference of 2 hours on like a constant video playback type test.
When I test it, I kind of just like to look at standby time, because I feel like if everything is optimized correctly and the battery is really good, it'll show in your standby time.
Yeah, for sure. That's usually like the first indicator. It's like, okay, I'm gonna let it sit and see like how long it can go. And like the M9 goes forever. It's been like 3 days and it still hasn't died. But like the S6 is just completely terrible. But that's like, to me, that's the only thing I can really judge it by. Maybe like installing all my apps that I usually do, all like 130 apps with like Instagram, running in the background and all that stuff. notifications coming through and just seeing how long it lasts. But really, like the only way you can really gauge it is by testing it against other devices that you've used around equally as much. So maybe Joe's like a heavy user, but he's like, hey, I use phones a lot and it's around the same as some other phone or whatever. But that's really the only way to kind of gauge battery life. I think it's really difficult though.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm just looking at the battery statistics right here for today, and I've been using the phone a lot today because I've been working on my review, and so it says in the last 3 hours of use, it's used 5% battery, and I've been doing a mix of trying games, videos, doing some other things.
That sounds pretty good to me.
That sounds flipping amazing. That's really good. So far though, I mean, even then, and like sometimes, sometimes some phones won't drop that first percentage very much, or sometimes they drop really quickly.
Yeah.
But then as soon as they hit around that 60% mark, things go really, really slow from there. So it's like, it's hard. It's hard.
See, I would have to take maybe some issue with saying 5. It says, well, now it says 6% in the last 3 hours because I started off today, I think it was at 40%. And now it's at 20%, and this has been since maybe noonish or earlier. So, about 3
Sounds like it's doing all right, and it's running Android 5.1. So I mean, it's better. It's already better off, I think, than the S6 in that regard because I mean, whatever 5.0.2 that's on the S6 is just it's stupid, it's buggy, and it's just nothing has worked right. And they need a software update really bad on that thing. But
all right, I think we'll move on now from the G4. Speaking of the S6, I don't even know if this is worth talking about because it doesn't seem like it's a big deal, but
it kind of is.
Not all Galaxy S6 and Galaxy S6 Edges have the same camera.
They're saying different things. So someone found out that when you type in this weird code on your dialer and it pulls up like the firmware and stuff of like the cameras that you're running on the phone, and some people are saying that it's reporting it inaccurately. Other people are like that's stupid. Like why the heck would they? It's literally reporting. But so some of the Galaxy S6s are coming with a Samsung camera on the back, while others are coming with the Sony sensor on the back for the back camera, the rear camera. Yeah. So
has anyone who's been able to do this and find they have a different camera done any sort of image comparisons to see if there's
so like there's the S6 Edge apparently, like some of the I think it might be the S6 or the S6 Edge, but one of them like it's showing up that like they have a Samsung camera more than the other on a few units or whatever. So most people that have reviewed it, like sites and whatnot, they have both devices because they use them both for the review. So a few people have noticed a discrepancy, and it's like, oh, this one has a Sony sensor, this one has a Samsung, and they took a couple test shots, and for the most part, they look really similar. And I mean, Sony sensors are kind of like the thing that everyone uses, and it's like they're the top of the line. And that's not to say Samsung sensors are that much worse off or anything, but from the photo comparisons, I actually kind of like the Samsung photos a little bit better than the Sony ones, but other than that, I don't think many people will notice the difference, but I think I would be kind of pissed if it didn't have the Sony sensor because it's one of the best. It's great, but I mean, other than that, I mean, the lens it's still got that f1.9 little tiny lens on it. Still got the OIS, so it's like at the end of the day, it's not going to really matter too much. I don't think most people even notice, but yeah, some people are just upset about it. Some people are not sure how they feel about it, and it's kind of odd. It's kind of odd and a little bit weird, but
it is strange. I don't know why they would. I don't know. Seems weird.
Yeah, I mean, as long as doesn't seem to be making too big of a difference, Has
Samsung commented on it and like confirmed or denied?
They did comment on it.
And the thing is too is it's like it goes to show you how much goes into like how much the software plays a part in like how well your camera or your phone can take a photo. The lens, which also I mean all that stuff is like it matters a little bit more than even like say the camera sensor. So the camera sensors can be different and change, but software plays such a huge role that it really didn't matter too much in the end. Like most people won't even notice the difference.
So here's Samsung's comment on it. They say, the Galaxy S6 and S6 Edge utilize camera sensors from several different vendors. Like all of the technology used in our products, they meet our strict global quality and performance standards. So yeah, they're basically just saying, yep, they're different, but performance is the same. So
Yeah, that's weird. I mean, like if you bought a camera and you found out like it didn't have a CMOS sensor and it was using something else, I mean, that would be a pretty huge deal. You'd be like, what the hell's going on? But I guess on smartphones, stuff like that happens all the time. They're saying that Sony is having like manufacturing, they're not able to keep up with demand with their Sony sensor stuff or their imaging sensors. So it kind of makes sense. That kind of all to me that kind of confirms it a little bit too. But yeah, they look pretty good. I actually wouldn't be too mad if I got the Samsung sensor because I thought those photos looked a little bit better.
Have you checked yours to see what it is?
Yeah, I did. It's they're both the Sony sensors on mine. I will note though that this is kind of bothering me. The back, you know how the phone sits on the little lens thing?
Yeah.
It's all scuffed up. All the paint is coming off now.
Of course it is.
Yeah, I mean that's
Like,
not just the issue there. I mean I take issue with with the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus, it has a similar camera bump out that is kind of odd.
Like mine on the iPhone 6, you can see like some little like scuffs and whatnot. But like this thing has like paint around it and like a little metal like little ring. And all that is scratching out. Like it's just all like looks weird and looks horrible. Nasty. But yeah.
All right, so keeping with their Kickstarter roots, Pebble Time has been delayed for just it's not a big deal. And I guess they start mass production. I had to laugh though when I heard it because a lot of people were saying why were they even on Kickstarter to begin with, and now they're having and they were saying it's a throwback to the original Pebble, yada yada. So it's like, are they doing this as a throwback too? Just guys, remember delays on Kickstarter projects? Oh yeah, Throwback Thursday.
Couldn't have no delays. That'd be silly.
You ordered one, right, Chris?
Yeah.
The steel or the original?
Oh, just the original, yeah, the regular.
Okay.
But waiting, crossing my finger. I can't wait. I'm so hyped for it.
Maybe
they said May. They were supposed to start shipping out in May, I believe. So coming up.
Maybe it'll arrive at the same time as your coin.
I'm waiting. Never.
What would you do if all of a sudden the coin just like showed up on your doorstep?
There's no way it can't. I don't think they even ever asked for my like address. Like, it was such a scam. I'm like, I want to figure out what the hell's going on with that thing. So pissed.
Well, at least maybe they haven't charged you anything yet, have they?
I think they charged you initially. Yeah, you.
Are you serious?
It's like it was like a pre-order. So.
Oh man, I'd be pissed if they charged me already.
Took my $60 and ran. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they did send. Maybe they sent it to my parents' house and back when I was living over there or something.
They got it and they don't know what to do with it.
My dad's using it right now. He's loving it.
Or they got it and they think it's just one of those credit cards they send you.
Just threw it away.
Stop sending us credit cards.
Like, it's one of those stupid fake credit cards. Throw it away, Sharon. Throw it away, Sharon.
That'd be great.
So ridiculous.
All right, so you guys remember Hugo Barra?
Oh yeah,
our old friend.
Doesn't like micro SD cards.
Oh cool.
Hugo.
He works for. I'm gonna try to say this. Xiaomi.
Yeah.
Dude, you said it perfect. That was really
Whoa,
good.
man.
That was really. You said it like a true Chinese. That was good.
Xiaomi.
I just say Xiaomi. Zom. I don't even know what I say, honestly. In my head, I just look at the word. I don't even know.
Yeah, same here. And I knew it wasn't pronounced how I wanted to pronounce it. That's the only reason I got it right. But anyway, they announced a phone today or yesterday, I think, and it doesn't have expandable storage, like a lot of phones these days. And he basically said it's because micro SD cards suck. They can break everything. He didn't say it quoted. That's pretty much what he said. Is that they're not reliable and they easily can be faulty and stuff like that. Which he's 100% true.
Yeah. But I mean, to me, I feel like it's more of like a I don't know, like streamlining the whole phone thing and user friendliness and all that. Like messing around with SD cards and figuring out like where your photos are being saved and where your apps are, and then you save some of your apps to your SD card, then you pop out your SD card, and then all your phones at force closing and doing a bunch of weird. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't say what you will
than
about SD cards, but I mean, how many times have we heard like a tech executive make some bold claim in sort of a defensive position? Someone be like, "Oh, why don't you have SD cards?" "Oh, because SD cards suck." Or "Oh, Steve Jobs, why is the iPhone so small?" "Because no one wants bigger screens."
Yeah. I mean, and with Hugo Bart, like I remember when the Nexus 4 came out and he was doing that, and people were asking like, people were pissed that the Nexus 4 didn't have expandable memory, and it was just like he's, it's easier this way. Like he's always been kind of against it. So
Yeah, and I think that's one of those things that it's not gonna come back and bite him. Like micro SD expandable storage is clearly on the way out. You know,
yeah,
it's not like Steve Jobs saying big phones suck when everyone's making big phones except Apple. I mean, this is them saying expandable storage sucks and everyone is getting rid of expandable storage. I think that's clearly the way to go. Samsung's not even doing it anymore. And eventually, you know, people are mad about that now, some people, but
yeah.
eventually they're
Those
going to get
five,
over it.
the five
Yeah.
nights
I
are
mean,
upset.
there's specific situations where SD cards I can see a big benefit, but um, people that cling to their SD cards need to start, especially as a means to make their data portable, they need to just start relying on cloud stuff. I mean,
Yeah, that's.
yeah,
I mean, that's what I do. It's made it honestly has made my life easier. I mean, like not having to worry about swapping out my SD cards and then upgrading them eventually. I mean, it's just I have so many 8 GB SD cards around the house. It's stupid already. But
It's so nice to set up a new phone and you sign into your cloud storage
yes,
account and it's like it's all there.
it's
Or
all
I've
there.
had so many times where I've taken a picture on one device and then like I'm out with a
Yeah,
different device and oh I have a picture of that and then for a split second I'm like oh wait no that was on my other phone and then the next split second is like wait no it's backed up I can show you
yeah.
yeah. It's
the
like
future.
future.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, there's still those situations where, I mean, the cloud isn't always the answer because we don't have wireless coverage everywhere. I mean, if you're in an area where you're off grid, or if you don't have the data and you don't have Wi-Fi, then like you're kind of at a disadvantage without an SD. An SD card could be
Yeah,
useful in that situation, but those moments I think are becoming fewer and far between.
yeah, for sure. All right, so Project Phi. Invites are rolling out right now. Has any of us got one? I don't think Kevin, you didn't probably sign up.
No, I
I
didn't. I
I
did
I
not.
I registered, but
Yeah, I
haven't
registered too. I haven't heard anything yet though.
haven't checked my Gmail really today, but I don't think I did.
It's not lost in your 7,000
I mean,
emails
it's
unread.
just today alone. It is there's so much email. This is disgusting. Oh my gosh. But yeah, nothing. Dang. That was really
And I think you
awesome.
have something that you're going to talk about a little bit more with that in your wins and fails. So
Yeah.
I think we will move into our wins and fails right now.
Oh.
Kevin,
Oh.
kick it off.
Oh, does a week go by that my win isn't Star Wars related recently? Um, this
No,
this
we've been talking about Star Wars so much, and the movie's still 8 months away.
I know. I feel like my life for the next 8 months, I'm just gonna be like, God. So my win this week is that Google is replacing the voice of Google Now with Jar Jar Binks. No, just
Are you sure
kidding.
that's not your fail of the week?
No, actually, the Google app, and this is kind of playing off of we mentioned May the 4th, unofficial Star Wars Day holiday. May the 4th be with you. As part of that, Google rolled out on both their Android and iOS Google apps that you can now ask questions about Star Wars and you can get specific responses about characters. It includes like 400 of these, more than 400 popular Star Wars characters. So just like, and this is going to be my new go-to, just instead of always asking Google how old is Barack Obama to demonstrate it, I'll be like,
How
where
old is
was,
Yoda?
yeah, how old is Yoda, or where was Luke
Oh, how
Skywalker
old
born?
is Yoda?
He's like 800
I
something.
like to ask what planet. I'll do one right now,
Okay, Google.
or Chris will.
How old is Yoda? 900 years old. Exactly.
I'll do one. Okay, Google. What planet is Admiral Akbar from?
Oh, the fish guy.
Wikipedia, Admiral Gil Akbar is a fictional character in the Star Wars saga.
Just reading the.
Member of the amphibious Mon Calamari species,
There you
Akbar
go.
was the foremost military commander.
It's pretty
That's
good.
pretty cool. I mean,
Yeah.
probably not useful in your everyday life unless you are typically getting into arguments about Star Wars characters,
Yeah.
but cool nonetheless. So, for those that missed May the 4th, you can check out some Star Wars stuff on Google, which is awesome. So for my fail, uh, Apple is once again doing some funny business. And this time it's regarding they're about to launch their Beats Music app, and apparently the Department of Justice and Federal Trade Commission are looking into some business practices of Apple's, which they've been pushing major labels to pull out and get rid of free versions of things like Spotify and other services like that, really to kind of loosen or I guess control the market more. And we kind of saw this with we had this whole ebook pricing scandal with Apple that turned into this whole big thing. So it's kind of similar if you know about that whole thing where Apple accused of fixing ebook prices, and they were found guilty in an antitrust case of kind of monopolizing that ebook industry. Now there is some investigation going into whether they're doing something similar with music streaming, especially as it relates to their new Beats Music service that's coming out. So not cool on Apple's part that they do this, but I guess business can be cutthroat sometimes.
Is this new Beats Music service going to be like the same as it was before with the? Remember, what was it? You would there was like a sentence that you could fill in, and it would give you music recommendations. Is this like the same thing?
They said they're redoing it, right? It's gonna
I
be
think they're redoing
different.
it. I think this service that they're going to launch is going to be baked into the next iOS update, and I think it's going to be either a replacement to or an enhanced version of the iTunes Radio that already exists. I think it's going to complement that in some way or replace it.
Is iTunes Radio its own app on the iPhone?
No, it's in the music app on iPhone. So I don't know what's going to happen with iTunes Radio, but I think this Beats Music thing will affect iTunes Radio in some way. This is supposed to be a much more robust streaming service, and who knows if they'll even. I'm not even positive they're going to launch it as Beats or if they're just using technology to.
Yeah, I was wondering that too. Like if they're going to use the type like the name Beats or anything, Beats Music or Beats Streaming or any of that.
Beats me.
Oh wait, no, I don't.
Come on, Chris.
I don't. I got
The
that.
rim shot.
There it is.
Hey. All right, my win of the week is Google Plus. What?
What? Why?
Google Plus Collections is my win of the week. So Google Plus is one of those social networks. I feel like I'm a member of every social network, but Twitter is the one that I really post on.
Oh yeah.
I have like Tumblr account, Google Plus account, Facebook account, Snapchat account, all these accounts, but Twitter's like the one I consistently post on. But I always check Google Plus. And Google Plus Collections is this new feature. It's almost like Pinterest boards, I guess. So whenever you're going to share something, you can choose to put something in a collection, and you can, make a collection for whatever you want. You can make like a tech collection, sports collection, whatever. But the cool thing about this is when you're following someone on Google Plus, you're automatically subscribed to all their collections. But you can go and unsubscribe. So if you have someone that you're following and say you don't care about sports, and they do a lot of stuff about sports, and they happen to put their sports posts in a collection, you can go to that collection and unsubscribe from it, and then you don't have to see any of the stuff that they talk about that you're not interested in. So I'm not sure that's like the main reason Google made this feature, but it's what I like about it. You can go unsubscribe from things that you might not be interested about, but still follow someone.
So are collections, you manage your own collections, or they're just collections?
Yep. Anytime you make a post, it asks you if you want to add it to one of the collections that you've made.
Yeah. So it's almost like circles. Like you can choose like how you want to share it, or like add it, like choose your circles, or add it to like a collection. It's really
easy.
And
like every post, you can see if it's in a collection. It will say on the top, like added this to, and then collection name. So.
Is there a Samsung Nights collection?
I bet there probably is, to be honest. And if I'm not mistaken, well, I know you can subscribe to collections. Like, if you didn't want to follow someone but you liked one of their collections, you could subscribe to the collection. And I think there's certain websites who have made collections I've seen I don't know if more than one person can add to a collection. That would be kind of cool if you could have like a group collection or something.
I think so.
That would almost be like Twitter lists, kind of.
Yeah, it would be.
But yeah, that's a cool feature. I don't use Google Plus a lot, but
is it gonna save Google Plus? Is it gonna save them? That's what I want to know.
I don't think it needs saving, but
yeah. Google Plus is interesting because everyone thought like, oh, this isn't going to last, and it's not that it's died off. I mean, it's really getting bigger, I guess, but it sort of exists in its own place. I don't see it ever becoming the most prominent social network, but it's definitely not going to fade away.
Yeah. I mean, I like all the features. It's just like I find myself just browsing it more than I do posting and interacting with people. I guess I plus one a lot of stuff, share a couple things, but. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I always want to be more active on there, but it's just the people on there are just kind of weird. Don't really know anybody that's following me. And
yeah.
Twitter's for me.
Yeah, Twitter. I do like Twitter a lot. That's definitely my go-to.
Yeah, it's also where all the babes are and celebrities, so that's always fun.
Yeah, you don't really hear like about. There's always a post on like news sites about something a celebrity said on Twitter. You don't hear about something that a celebrity said on Google Plus.
Well, I will say that whole what was it, the G4 thing? There was some guy from Cyanogen posted about the G4's camera, and he talked about the raw photo quality and all this other stuff. And then the guy that LG paid, that professional photographer, Colby Brown or something, him and that guy got into it. They were like arguing back and forth and just like going nuts.
Jeez.
Rob is pinging me on Skype. Hold on. On my Hangouts.
That's not information that we all need to know.
Goodness gracious.
My fail of the week is going to be...
It is breaking news, though. We might want to...
Yeah. It's basically the Google I/O schedule is live.
I actually saw that a while ago.
Yeah, that was like about 2 hours ago or something.
Because I saw that the keynote is going to be 2.5 hours long, which is, that's all I have to say about that.
2.5 hours of what?
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be a lot of Google at work stuff. I guess one of the scheduled things was like Android M in businesses or at work and this and that. So hopefully it's not too boring. All that, I don't know, security stuff and I don't know.
So my fail of the week is going to be this app called Threes got pulled. I'm pretty sure everyone's heard of it. It's a pretty popular app. Yeah. Google pulled it because they had the keyword 2048 in the.
It's just a number, though. It's just a number.
I don't know if it was like in the. Do you do tags in the Play Store, or is it just anything in your description?
Anything in your description is a keyword tag.
So it was mentioned in the description, and Google pulled it because of that. Because I guess they were thinking that they're trying to get people who are searching for the 2048 app to download Threes, and it is a violation of the rules.
Clearly.
Right. So that's not where my fail is. My fail is really that Google pulls these apps without any warning. Like, this is something that they could have easily sent an email to the developer and been like, hey, this is a violation, you have to change this, and then give them a certain amount of time, and then they change it and everything's fine. It's like such a simple thing to change. It's just a keyword. Why do you have to pull it?
Yeah.
Completely.
They do that so often, though. I feel like
that's where my fail is too. Is that they do it so often. Is there no warning system where they send a email saying, "Hey, if you don't change this, we're gonna pull your app"? It's just like they just cut right to the most extreme measure.
Yeah, and someone was mentioning something on Twitter about how Apple doesn't really do that. They'll send you some couple of emails and this and that, warning you, telling you, hey, we're gonna pull this. Google is just it's like a robot that's somewhere out there. That's some algorithm they came up with that just automatically blocks these apps or pulls them. And it's like, this wasn't some small time little tiny game. I mean, this game had hundreds of thousands
Yeah, it's really
downloads.
popular.
It's huge game, and just to without warning, just pull your game like that. I mean,
Yeah, I think that's the thing I take the most issue with is like, okay, I guess I can sort of understand if it's like an obviously spam app that doesn't have many downloads, but when it's like an app that's got tons of coverage, tons of users, like just pulling it without even bothering to contact the developer seems kind of, I don't know, it just doesn't seem like the right thing to do.
And to Google's credit, it was reinstated pretty quickly after it got pulled, so at least they moved quickly getting it back into the store. But
it's the same thing. It's like
right, they could have avoided the whole thing.
They make this big old thing, and they're like, oh, wow, let's go add it back in again, and have to go manually add it back in. But it's just so silly, ridiculous.
Come on, Google.
Get with it.
Get it together.
Not to mention that 2048 was a complete ripoff of Threes, so it's like
there was a lot of discussion about that on Reddit. Which came first, 2048 or Threes? There are people on both sides of that issue. I'm sure there's just be easy to look up the date and see which one came first.
Yeah, it was Three. Like I remember that they had this huge. The developer of Threes like wrote this big old blog post talking about all these stupid copycat games that came out, and he talked about 2048 and stuff. So I mean, maybe it's coincidence that 2048 uses like the same.
The thing is, though, have you played both of them?
I haven't played 2048, but Threes.
Yeah, I've played both of them, and 2048's really not. I played 2048 first because that one was free, and then I bought Threes a little bit later, and they're actually not that similar. 2048 plays a lot differently than Threes does.
Yeah, I mean that happens a lot. You see a lot of Me Too games, but they kind of spin the whole gameplay and the way they work and stuff, and I get that. Like, take an idea, build upon it, make it your own. That's kind of cool. But I think the problem was that 2048 came out first on Android because Threes was only on iOS for a long time. So the guy's like, he saw an opportunity, jumped on it. But whatever.
What's your wins and fails, Chris?
My win for the week is going to be Shazam. So the Google app stuff. It didn't just
the movie with Shaq in it.
Shazam. I know Kevin talked about the whole Star Wars trivia getting added into Google App, but they also added some voice actions, some new voice actions that I guess they integrate now with third-party apps and stuff. So there's only a handful of them at launch, but Shazam is one of them. I think like TripAdvisor is another, and TuneIn Radio and stuff like that. So you can basically just say, "Okay, Google," and have it launch these applications, and not just launch the app like, oh, open Shazam or open whatever, but you can tell it to do something within that app. So you could say, okay, Google, Shazam this song, and it'll look up that song, whatever song's playing right now. Or you can say, okay, Google, play this band on TuneIn ID or TuneIn, and it'll play that artist on TuneIn. So it's pretty cool, and it definitely takes voice actions to the next level. I don't really use voice actions too much, but I think now that if they start integrating with like Spotify and stuff like that, it's going to be pretty handy, especially if you're driving and you want to keep your hands on the road, on the wheel, and your eyes on the road. So
yeah,
definitely going to be my win. That was kind of a big update. My fail for the week is going to be the Nexus 9. It's still running Android. Like I think it's like the initial version of Lollipop that it came with, Android 5.0.1. Maybe even 5.0. I can't even remember anymore. I actually lost my Nexus 9, but I don't know if that's a fail.
You lost a 9-inch tablet?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where the heck it went in this apartment. But like, I mean, in the process of moving things and getting new furniture and doing all, I literally cannot find what I did with that tablet. But so it got some Googler mentioned on Google Plus the other day that it was supposed to be getting Android 5.1.1, and it was just around the corner. So everyone's like, yeah, like all hyped up, and then lo and behold, I think it was yesterday, the Nexus 9 got an update, system update, and everyone's like, yeah, flipping out, and then it turns out it's just 5.0.2. So super small. Google just completely trolled everybody, and it's kind of hilarious. But I mean, I'm sure the update was something that was needed in order to get to 5.1.1, and it has to. I mean, there's a process of bug squashing and whatnot. So I still think 5.1 is around the corner. They had factory images for like the Nexus 7s that came out, and the Nexus 10 for 5.1, but nothing on the Nexus 9. So people are kind of seeing the Nexus 9 as like some sort of weird red-headed stepchild because it's got that NVIDIA processor. It's made by HTC. and some people have issues with like hardware stuff and software and all this stuff. So it's just not everyone's really happy with the Nexus 9. But
The Lollipop rollout in general for like all devices has not been very good.
that was my initial fail. But I mean, we've talked about it a lot. Was just the Lollipop shenanigans and how it's just such a flippin' mess right now, and nobody's happy. I mean, it's
All right, but hasn't that always been like the story? I mean,
no,
The
not
last
like this.
few
but
updates,
maybe, yeah,
like
what-
Kit Kat and Jelly Bean and
Yeah.
stuff, have been pretty good.
Kit Kat, I think Kit Kat was awesome because Kit Kat, they just kept every little tiny update would just add a couple new features, a little bit here, a little bit there, and you're like, oh, I want that, that's cool. But it wasn't like my freaking phone or tablet is completely broken now. I need an update stat, and then that's how Lollipop has been for the past, 5.0, 5.0.1, 5.0.2.
Not only that, but just some devices are still waiting on it completely. Like,
Yeah.
there's some
Nexus
Motorola devices who you would think Motorola would be updated them pretty quick. There's a lot of Motorola devices that haven't been updated to Lollipop at all yet. Like
Yeah.
pretty new devices. My wife's Moto G LTE still doesn't have Lollipop, and that's like, the original Moto X does, I'm pretty sure.
No,
Or does
the
it?
original does not. Yeah.
The original doesn't yet either.
Still
That's-
on Kit Kat, and then it was supposed to get Lollipop a long time, and people were all pissed off about it, but it's been simply just because Lollipop is such a mess. It's so buggy. There's so many problems, and when Google, does these updates and stuff, they make sure it works with Nexus hardware, but they don't care if it works on other people's hardware, so it's up to those manufacturers to test it out, make sure it plays well with their drivers and all that stuff, and then they can launch it. But it's been so broken, and every single time they start working on a new version, all right, cool, we'll start doing 5.0.2. Oh, 5.1 is out. And you're like, okay, we'll start doing 5.1. 5.1.1 is out, and it's like, just
That's gotta be
stop it.
frustrating.
And now what is it, later this month or whatever? It's going to be Android M. It's not going to be out, but they're going to already be talking about that. So it's just it's never ending, and it's just it's nothing new really, like Kevin was saying. It's kind of the way things go in Android. Just Android problems, I guess. But
Apparently, this is breaking news, guys.
what's up?
still, again,
Breaking fast food news. There's a new Hamburglar.
Fries are back.
there's a new Hamburglar.
There's a new Hamburglar.
What? I always wonder what happened to that
And
guy.
he's just as hip as the new Ronald McDonald.
Does he look like the new Joker? Is he gonna
No,
be
he
like,
looks nothing
tatted
like
up?
the new Joker.
It's gonna be all.
He looks like Zorro put on a leather jacket and is holding a hamburger.
Wait, he's wearing a leather jacket. I'm not seeing this on my Twitter feed anywhere. Oh my gosh. Oh, I see.
Where is this? I don't see this.
That can't be him.
I just Google Hamburglar. I saw it on Mashable.
Yeah, it's on Mashable. Well, that can't be him. This is probably like a joke for a commercial. Or
No,
something.
didn't you ever see the new Ronald McDonald?
No.
Pretty sure we talked about that on the podcast back.
Am I spelling Hamburglar wrong or something? Because I'm not seeing any of this.
Ham and then regular burglar.
Yeah.
Oh my god. But he's real though. Like he's not even like I thought he was gonna be animatronic or something, and like it's weird.
Why would he be animatronic? The original was just a guy in a costume. It wasn't an animatronic.
No, it had a guy in a costume, but his lips like moved around and stuff. Like he was like and he would like open his mouth and like eat hamburgers and stuff.
Oh, it's like a real person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is weird.
I'm trying to find a picture of the new Ronald McDonald that they showed off like last year. And
Yeah, I've never
it looks
seen the
kind
new
of the
Ronald.
same way.
You know who they should bring back is Mac Tonight. That was like the guy back in
I
the
don't
day.
even know who that is.
Dude, Mac Tonight, he was a Big Mac guy, and he was a big moon
Oh.
head.
Okay.
He was like a huge moon, and he would just like sing on a piano, and he would like talk about Big Macs. I had all of his toys.
Speaking of fast food, this is completely off topic, but did anyone see that the Burger King was at the Pacquiao Floyd Mayweather fight?
Yeah.
It was what was it? Jimmy Kimmel was on the background of like with Pacquiao, and then on Mayweather's corner it was the Burger King.
Yeah,
I was like, what in the world?
Yeah, someone like tweeted, "Is the Burger King in Mayweather's posse?"
Yeah, we were cracking up because I had to watch the fight from like outside this bar because it was all packed, so we just watched the entire thing from outside freezing. But when I saw him, I was like, "It's the king!" Everyone's like freaking out, like, "What the heck? Why is he doing that?"
All right, let's get back on topic a little bit.
Yeah.
I guess we'll go into our app picks. Kevin.
Okay. So uh, a while back during South by Southwest, we talked about the Meerkat explosion, the iOS app that let you, at the time, live stream to Twitter, live stream video feeds to Twitter, very much like Periscope does. They ran into some issues with Twitter blocking them, probably because Twitter wanted to use their own Periscope for the same thing. But now Meerkat, two things with Meerkat. The first is that it works with Facebook. You can stream to Facebook. You can schedule streams on Facebook, share them that way, which is pretty cool. Another way to share your Meerkat streams. The other thing that's probably a slightly bigger deal is that Meerkat for Android is now available. Again, if you're not familiar with the app, it's basically, I guess, it's a live streaming app.
It's Ustream for 2015.
Yeah, it's like a Ustream, but it links right into your social media profiles, and in its best, the best version of it, you would basically, if it's in your Twitter stream, you'd be scrolling down through Twitter, and the live video would just be playing. You wouldn't have to click and start playing.
Is that how it works on Facebook now?
I haven't seen it on Facebook personally, but I'm assuming.
I assume it would because
Facebook has autoplay videos already.
Right.
So.
Yeah, if only I had anything interesting in my life to live stream, maybe I would download it.
I mean, I didn't really think I had known much purpose for apps like this until, I guess, last week when the civil uprising in Baltimore happened, the riots and stuff, and there was a lot of citizen journalism with people live streaming with Periscope and other services, so it was kind of cool to be able to watch on there. But yeah, so Android users, if you've been wanting to check this out, you can, because I don't think Periscope's out for Android yet either, is it?
No, surprisingly not, considering Twitter is the one that made it. Like, what is the excuse? Come on. I should just download Meerkat and set it up on my desk so people can see how glamorous it is to be.
I was thinking about doing that. I was like, maybe I should just put it. I'm gonna try to set up like one of my old phones, put it like on a shelf, and you can just see what I do all day. Nothing.
You would forget that you had it on and do something embarrassing.
Yeah, that's true. That's actually very true.
My pick, actually I have two, and one of them is purely for Chris's benefit. I'll get to that one next. But my first app pick is a game for Android called Does Not Commute. And this game, I think, is really clever.
It's the mediocre guys, right?
Yeah, the mediocre guys. They make a lot of great games. But in this game, so you're controlling cars, and you like have a top-down view of cars and like a street and stuff, and you control the car. You have to get from point A to point B with obstacles. That's pretty standard. But the cool part is you only have a certain amount of time, and every time, say you use one car, you go from point A to point B, it's timing while you do that. And then after you're done with that one, you get a different car, and you have to go to point A to point B. But the car that you drove before that, it exists in that world, if this makes any sense at all. So
wait, what? I don't even get it.
It's so hard to explain. So when you're driving the second car, you have to avoid the first car that you drove. It remembers how you drove that first one. So as you play more and more,
so you're
more
fighting
cars
against yourself?
Yeah, you're playing against yourself. So the longer you play, like more cars are on the map, and it's all cars that you drove in past turns, and you have to avoid them. And you have only a certain amount of time. Every turn takes up some time, and so you just want to see how long you can go. It's really unique. I highly recommend playing it.
I had no idea, and I saw that they released it, and I saw the trailer for it and everything, and I was just like, okay, you just drive a car around and like just try to avoid other, like it just seemed so. I just thought that was it, like you just drive a car around and like bump into people and like crazy. But I didn't know it was like kind of like a puzzle-ish type game.
Yeah, it kind of is like a puzzle.
I love those mediocre guys, man.
Download it, man. You'll love it.
They're on point.
Okay, so my pick for Chris, pay attention to this. Just saw this life pro tips on Reddit today, and I thought of you immediately. It's a Chrome extension called the Great Suspender. And this, when you have a lot of tabs open,
So I need suspenders.
it suspends tabs that have been open for a long time and just kind of like freezes them so that it doesn't use up any more RAM or slow down your browser at all. And then when you go to it, open that tab again, it'll ask you to refresh it. So if you have a lot of tabs open, like Mr. Chavez is known to have,
What?
you might want to try it.
Suspender.
The
This
Great
works.
Suspender.
Is this a Chrome thing?
Yeah, it's a Chrome thing.
Oh, sweet
There's a
Jehovah.
thread on Reddit about improving Chrome because we all know how crappy Chrome can be. And that was
Every day it will like my CPU will get maxed out and it's just some random tab doing who knows what the heck it's doing, and oh my gosh, this is so awesome.
and I'll throw in another app pick for Chrome
3 for 1.
just for the fun of it. Yep. Buy one app pick, get three. Called uBlock, and it's apparently much, much better than AdBlock. And I've been using that so far today. It seems to have been.
Why
It
is
seems
it better?
that sites load a little bit faster with uBlock.
Oh, okay.
It might be placebo, but
I mean, I do notice that AdBlock does make sites load slower.
yeah, AdBlock has gotten a little bloated and slow compared to what it used to be. So give uBlock a try. And that wraps up my app picks. Chris, what do you got?
This is great. I just added the Gray Suspender. Well, it's a hell of a guy. My app pick is going to be Timeful. I mean, you can't really use it anymore. I mean, I guess you can still download it. It's only for iOS, but basically it's like a weird time management application that like integrates in with like your calendar and this and that. Again, it's only for iOS, but I guess the twist is that Google just bought them, and they're going to be using that for like Google Calendar and their all the stuff that Google uses, Inbox, I think, as well. So basically, Timeful, it knows your schedule, it knows what you're doing, and it checks your meetings, and you put all that stuff in like you would normally. You can add reminders, you can do all this other stuff, but it intelligently will add other stuff in for you based around your schedule. So it'll say, you know, you have 30 minutes to read, so it'll insert that time slot into your schedule. Take 30 minutes to read, and it knows when you have like a little bit of downtime and stuff, or 30 minutes to work out or do something or go running for a little bit or something. But it's like a smart time management type thing. It's really, really cool. But it was previously only for iOS. It's still for iOS, and you can still download it and stuff, but it's just not going to have any further development coming its way now that they're officially a Google company now. So it will be coming soon in some form to Android in the near future. So that's my app pick.
Cool. Right, we have an email question that I want to get to this week. This is from Daquan Johnson. He says, what do you think the build materials and software will be like on the Galaxy Note 5? Do you think the Note Edge 2 will have a double-edge display? So I think he's just kind of asking, do we think the Note will kind of adopt the design of the S6? And I have to say, I think absolutely it will.
100%. I will put money on that. We've actually saw an old patent back when for a Note design that was before the S6 Edge, like before anyone saw that, and the patent for the Note Edge, which had the stylus and everything, it looked a lot like the Galaxy S6 Edge, but a lot actually. Only it's curved on both sides, so it's curved on the top like that, but the back is also curved and looked all space age and awesome looking. And I have a feeling that is probably what the Note 5 is going to look like, or Note 5 Edge.
Yeah, I say they want to up it, and instead of having 2 edges, they'll have at least three curving edges.
I mean, technically they are, because it's going to, well, from what the patent it showed, it was like, I guess, symmetrical? I mean, it was the same on the side, like you're looking at it from the profile. The back and the front curved exactly the same. It's just like only the front had the glass with the display on it, and the back was just going to be regular glass or whatever. But it looked pretty cool from the little patent thing that I saw.
Yeah, I think it'll definitely be similar.
But yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they have to have 2 edges. The one with the one edge, it was kind of strange. It was a good experiment, I think.
My OCD is it like bothers me so much that it's only on one side. I can't even like look. Every time I look at it, it like disgusts me.
So do you think that when do you think, or do you think that the Edge experiment will turn into Samsung just releasing Edge only the devices with just the curved edges and no alternate?
Galaxy S7.
Maybe the Galaxy S7 or something. Once they can figure out how to produce like enough of the curved AMOLED stuff, but I think there's a very real possibility Galaxy S7 will just have only like be an Edge because I don't know. It's not really like a really a different phone at all. It's just curved. That's all. So it's like I can see the Note Edge because the Note Edge has like those different features and it's completely a lot different than just the regular version. But yeah, I don't know.
If you want to ask us a question like Daquan did, you can do that with our address podcast@mobileroar.com. Real quickly, a couple things before we wrap up. Number one, Chris, what phone are you using?
S6, still the S6, but I've been using my M9 a lot more now.
The tide's maybe shifting a bit.
It's growing on him.
A lot more. Those speakers, man, you can't mess with those speakers.
So what happened to the Droid Turbo?
Oh, it's still like my primary, but I don't really even touch it. But it just sits in my pocket. It never dies.
It's your primary, but you don't touch it. How does that work?
It's like the one that I take when I go out places, and it's just in my pocket. But like for emergencies, like basically if my other phones die, I know the Turbo's got my back. So
it's not your primary. It's your backup phone, is what it sounds like.
Kind of. But I mean, most of my time is spent.
It's your number one backup phone.
Most of my time is spent as my side phone. But most of my time is spent at home, so like all these phones are on Wi-Fi, so I just use those phones. But if I'm out and about, then I'm forced to use the Turbo, and I hate every minute of it.
I can never use more than one phone because I can't keep them all charged. Like there's always just
that's the
one
thing
phone that I plug in every night next to me.
You gotta have that bomb standby in the M9. That's why I always, no matter what, if I go to it, it's still got the same battery life that it did 3 days ago. It's wonderful.
All right, so our next bit of news is a little bittersweet. Kevin has an announcement.
Yes. After I don't know how many episodes we've done.
This is 91.
Yeah. So after 91, so I'll be after 92 episodes, which is next week. I will be leaving the podcast, and for those of you that know me from the writing that I've done with Android over the years, I will be moving on from my time with Android and the Mobile Roar podcast. So
for a cool reason though. Tell them what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be this summer. I'm going to be. I mentioned my enjoyment of cycling on this podcast before, and I'll be cycling across the United States. Maybe coming to a town near you. So
Mobile Roar meetups.
But I'll be out and about. And who knows? Maybe at the end of my trip, I might make some appearances around these parts again, but for now, it is goodbye. But we still got one more show, so we'll have to.
Next week will be your last, and we may have Kevin's replacement lined up to be on the podcast next week also. Ooh. So stay tuned for that. That could be cool. But I think that's going to wrap up this week. If you want to get in touch with us, I mentioned our email address, podcast@mobileroar.com. You can also subscribe to the audio version on Stitcher Radio, iTunes, and most places. Leave us a review there if you do. You can follow the show on Twitter @MobileRoarcast, one word. And you can follow us on Twitter. Chris is @GamerCore, Kevin is @YouDon'tKnowKev, and I am @TallSchmo. And we will see you guys next week. Later.